Let's talk about the time that I nearly got scammed. Not really, but I'm just gonna say that for the sake of just showing you how dangerous scammers can be. Based on the date that would be shown to you on the screen, I really feel that scammers nowadays are either very smart or not really that smart. The scammer that I somehow stumbled upon is a smart scammer which did not actually have a proper execution of his plan. I would say that scammers like this have been very frequently popping up, especially on social media. Why? Because they target three kinds of people. Old people who may not be tech savvy, and they try to manipulate the old people's lack of knowledge in technology to actually assert their dominance in a sense, and to actually extort them like money, try to find a way to scam them so that they can provide money in a way that sometimes it's predictable, but sadly it happens to many people, especially the older people. Another one would be younger people. Why younger people? Younger people, even though they always interact with their phones, even though they understand what scamming always, like what scamming is, the problem is that young people sometimes have an ability to fully trust strangers sometimes. Normally we would say, don't take candies from strangers. But the thing is, some young people trying to find new friends, especially in a day and age where everything is online, some people just feel that having friends online isn't really a big deal until when they click on a mischievous link, okay, something that has malware, very malicious, or something where they get swayed by these very sweet words of people online. That's where these very young people sometimes actually get blinded because they think that, oh, easy money, oh, they get recognized, they get good attention from people which they might crave, and in the end, out of nowhere, suddenly they just get scammed, okay? And the third person would be those unlucky people who, for scamming, it's always information. Sometimes you have documents that you have, maybe your phone number or maybe your identity card number, yes, and then also your bank account or any other information that you have that you might actually have on a piece of paper or somewhere, but carelessly enough you lost it, you threw it away somewhere. And some people who might be, collecting trash, or maybe something fell out from the dustbin somewhere, or the wind, the floods. And when someone was able to pick up that piece of document and sees all of the stuff that you have, the unfortunate thing would be people having your information, and because they cannot access your information directly because they don't have a password and they don't have the OTP number to actually access everything, they would find ways to trick you, like saying that they're from the bank or they're from somewhere like the police station, and saying that they have these details of you and everything to the accurate number and the alphabet itself, only to scam you when you think that, oh, it's a very serious issue, my bank account is going to get frozen, when actually it's just people trying to manipulate the data you lost somehow into actually using it against you. Three types of people, but I'm pretty sure there are many other kinds of people which are susceptible to scamming, okay? Let's talk about my experience. So on that particular wonderful night, for some reason, there is this wonderful lady online with the name Fatimah, okay? And on the profile, it shows that, oh, she's a pilot, okay? I have the habit of scrolling through people's profiles to understand who they are, because my personal Instagram account doesn't really have a private filter in a sense. Like, I leave it public because if there are any friends that I know, they could easily find me anyway. And I would say that a lot of the things that I share are not from that particular account. It's always in currently my business account, the one that you should know me from. And I would say I was a bit surprised because out of nowhere, this person followed me. And then 2 days, few days later, I think 2 days, maybe 2 days later, she messaged me, like with the very surprising greeting, and the conversation started like what you can see on screen are the screenshots of how the conversation went. It started with her greeting me first, like she's the one who approached me first, and then I replied and responded in the way where it's cautious, but at the same time I already knew something was off. But I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I knew it was a scamming process because here's the thing. When I scrolled through her profile, it had pictures of her being a pilot. It had her profile picture of being, well, beautiful, of course. And she has reels of being a pilot as well. But the problem is, when you go into Instagram's tagged pictures section, you are either tagged by other people, and if you want to remove yourself, normally it's a bit hard. It's not impossible, I think, but then it's harder than normal. And some scammers actually don't do that. If they do, then they're already very smart. If they don't, then you would be like Fatimah over here, where you would see very weird pictures. Like there are pictures of silat. Silat is a Malaysian self-defense form, okay? And I would say that there are a lot of silat pictures, like medals, some guys winning tournaments and whatnot. And it just blew my mind, like, how does this woman, being a pilot that doesn't have a face anywhere related, and then after that, there's no correlation with the post on her main feed whatsoever. And then when I went to check what is the about her account, I noticed that the location was in Nigeria. Which was weird, because if you're in Nigeria, it's either you made the account in Nigeria or you're using a VPN, or there might be something wrong somewhere. Because if you're a Malaysian who made it, if you made that account, then by right you should be in Malaysia or somewhere else nearly, at least. But since that happened, I knew something was off, and I decided to play this scammer from the person's time. I don't know if it's a he or she at this moment, but I would say that I played him or her in a sense where I wasted their time. So it continued where the person wanted to say that, oh, you're eligible for a giveaway. So like, for sharing the blessings of God. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, those are very sweet words, but still, I'm not falling for that. But anyway, since we're playing this person, let's continue. Then they started with the process and everything, and they talked about the money, obviously, because they talked about the amount, and she said $2,500 US. And all you have to do is just obviously follow a few steps, which is what typical scammers always do. So I'm like, okay, fine, sure. Let's see what the steps are. I didn't really, jump into anything. I just showed my curiosity and said, yeah, sure, tell me the list of things. And before she even told me the list of procedures, she continued to praise God for all of the good things. You praising God for bad things, I would say, is a bad sin already, okay? It's a big sin. So whatever you're doing, please stop. It's cringy, okay? It hurts my brain. Now, after she told me about the steps, like, okay, you provide your bank account number, your details, your name and everything, and do you have online banking? And I said, yeah, I have a legit bank. So I gave the legit bank because, well, it's a legit bank. Why not? And then after that, they asked for the account number and also the name. So I used a fake name. Okay, I provided a fake name and I also provided a fake bank number. And don't worry, it will not lead to anywhere because the number doesn't really exist. It cannot because it's from a phone number. Alright? And with a few edits here and there, so the phone number cannot be traced back anyway. After all of that, I, in my heart, thought, okay, I have a feeling that this person is going to send me a fake transaction approval slip of the money being wired to me. And lo and behold, a few minutes later, it actually happened. Like, what on earth are you doing? I thought that this scammer was amateur at this point because of how they forged documents in a way which actually looked legit. But at the same time, for a person who has seen a lot of scamming videos already, it looks very fake, to be honest. And that was fine. That was already the laughable part of the night. Moments later, after talking and whatnot, she said that, oh, your money has been wired, but you need to pay an international transaction fee so that you can actually get the money. Typical scamming things. If people want to give you money, they would go through an international monetary like transaction, okay, through telegraphic something like okay, here's the word, okay, here's the word. So you can do that, or you can use something like Western Union, okay, where you transfer the money, and it's either that you pay the exchange fee and the banking fee either from the sender's account or it's from the recipient's account, and it is direct on the spot or within a few days. There is no such thing as pending transaction where they ask you to pay while the money is being transferred. That is normally a very sketchy thing. I don't think that's how bank works. If that is how bank works, actually, just correct me in the comments, please. Thank you. But I would say that it's very weird. So she asked for 100 ringgit. 100 ringgit for my 2,500 fake US dollars, which I know I will never get. And I felt, okay, fine. Since that's what's happening, I was like, okay, so how do you want me to send the money to you? Because I don't want you, I don't want to keep this woman waiting from doing God's deeds, God's favor of spreading love, kindness, and blessings. It's cringy anyway. When it comes to that, and then before she even sent me the bank details that I have to forward the money, which is a scamming account, she sent me a fake, I would say a fake statement from a fake created WhatsApp number where it's like, oh, thank you so much for providing the money, I nearly lost hope, blah blah blah, that kind of vibe, like convincing, very convincing. It's a testimonial kind of thing. I finally found the word. It's a fake testimony. And I would say that looking at the language, I can guarantee you Malaysians are more, like, in a sense, well educated than the language that was used, okay? And I would say that this clearly looks like a fake scamming testimony, okay? Once the testimony was everything and done and everything with all of the sweet words, I would say, at this point, she gave me the picture of the account number. And this is the picture that this person sent. And immediately it's very weird because yes, you have CIMB, which is a Malaysian bank branch. You have the name, which is weird, Johnny Anak. So Johnny son, Johnny child, Anak, like Johnny son of something, but then instead it's just Johnny Anak. Okay, whatever. The number should be legit because they need to have a temporary card or a number so that you can transfer the money anyway. But then the statement on top, like look at this statement, okay? I'm going to show you the statement here. It's funny in a sense because there's no such thing, okay? There's no such thing. Banks, if they need to transfer money, it can be done online anyway. You don't need to go through this certain like bank manager or something. And the fact that Fatimah even said my bank manager, so I mean she's not the president of a bank, so she doesn't have managers working for her. It's impossible, okay? She's a pilot-ish, okay? So after all of the ordeal, I knew that I had to give up at some point because I'm actually quite tired. It has been going through like for a few hours, right? So when that happened, I purposely dragged the time where I said that, oh, the app is very slow, the internet might be having issues and whatnot, which is perfectly fine because at night, bank apps normally lag. It's quite common because somehow servers need to refresh and get cleaned up and whatnot. So there's always server maintenance at night. Normally it's midnight, but for my app, I knew that for a fact that on that particular night, my app was lagging anyway. So with the constant refresh and loading, so I said to Fatimah that, oh, I actually can't go into the bank app to check the balance and everything because it's loading, and I can't do anything to pay you because it's still loading. The internet might be slow for some reason. And then after that, the Fatima said just wait for a while, like she's able to wait. And I kept this loading and her waiting like cycle for quite some time, to the point where I noticed that she got a little bit impatient, because she was like, oh, can you please screenshot what do you see on your screen? Like, no one's gonna ask for that, okay? You don't suddenly become a pilot and then a bank president and then customer support. Like, choose a job, will you? You're not the Johnny Sins of scammers, okay? But I would say one thing, which is, after so long, I knew it was time to inject a little bit of fun. So you would see these two words, okay? You see this message and you see Amaterasu. I'm pretty sure all of you Naruto fans will love it, okay? This word from Naruto is quite remarkable, okay? Now, other than the Amaterasu, alright, I also said this word. This word is, I forgot if it's Bahasa Iban or if it's Bidayo. I forgot, okay? I forgot. But I'm going to put it here somewhere. Okay, I'm going to put it here somewhere after I reconfirm what language dialect is. This word, or these few words, okay? And it really means your father's, okay? Your father's. And I was hoping that this person would get triggered, because it was like I was split between him or her being a foreign scammer, not Malaysian, or an actual Malaysian scammer, because Malaysian scamming syndicates have been going around recently, hitting news. So with that happening, I thought, oh, okay, fine, the Amaterasu maybe would be funny, but no, didn't trigger him or her yet. So maybe they are not anime fans. But when it came to this word, somehow I sensed that there was a trigger, because like there was a switch in the way that this person responded. Like he or she knew something but tried to act cool and played it off, and was somewhat angry but still continued anyway. Fine. And then after a while of the same routine process again of like loading, waiting. In the end, I said, well, I have to, I think it's quite late and obviously I need to sleep. So I just said that I'm going to do it tomorrow. And after that, she replied with a few other messages, like hoping that I would do it tomorrow. And I thought it was the end of all the experience for the night, that I have finally played a scammer. No, that did not happen. The next morning, she messaged me again. And the funny thing is, she didn't give up. At this point, scammers should be smarter than this to know that it's already a lost cause, because the person you're trying to scam already knows you're a scammer. Okay? But still, he or she wants to pursue this 100 ringgit of mine. So I woke up, and after like dilly-dallying for a while, in the end I just said, well, I'm going to turn down the offer. Very sorry, but I have other commitments and whatnot. And then after that, the person said about what you told yesterday, so why you lie? In my brain I was like, oh, so why you lie? You're asking me that question? Then why are you scamming? Why are you scamming? So when after that and everything, the only way at that time my brain decided to just do the mic drop on everything and stop the conversation was double it and give it to the next person, which Fatima didn't read, because that person was already in the process of removing me from the following and the followed list, and started blocking my access from looking at content and whatnot, deleting pictures. And let me tell you that even though it's fun, I do not suggest anyone to play with scammers, because if scammers have a way to find out about anything, they would actually come to you and they would find other ways to actually make sure that they get their revenge, okay? So whatever it is, try your best to not piss scammers off. If you see something is suspicious, just do not care, block that account, And if you want to just report, so that Instagram might consider looking into that account and notice if there's a discrepancy or a mistake somewhere, they would take action immediately. Okay? Don't be like me playing with scammers. Even though it's fun, even though you see many other channels online in YouTube playing scammers from India or any other country, don't do that. I don't suggest it, and I myself, I don't think I would be doing that anytime soon. It's fun, but it's dangerous in return in the long run as well, so be very careful with what you do. Now, before we end this video, let's provide 3 ways that you can actually prevent yourself from being scammed, okay? Number 1 is do not always go into social media or on a call with the assumption that everyone is good, okay? How? When you actually know scammers are always out there trying to get information from you, what I suggest you to do is to always receive calls from unknown numbers with caution. Try to understand the tone of the person is speaking, understand if there's a certain dialect, if he's a foreign dialect or if he's a local dialect, try to understand from where it's from, and then understand the context of what the call is. Every single time money or certain form of other information is at stake, you always need to make sure that the information came from the right place, okay? This would be an entire different video, but I will link here or here, okay? I'm going to put the link to a few of the videos on YouTube that actually teach you how to avoid scammers, or at least maybe they don't teach you, but then they show how the scamming is done and you can learn how to avoid it, okay? So one part is obviously from the calls. Just don't assume everyone is an angel, okay? Approach unknown numbers with caution. That's number 1. Number 2, always have redundancy when it comes to your information, and do not let everything be linked. We are at a day and age where technology is linked to every single thing, okay? But the problem is, like for example, if you have multiple emails in one device and then you share that multiple email bubble with multiple other devices, any one device that gets hacked will have a session token available for hackers or scammers to actually access all your information and renders your entire plethora of devices useless, because one device hacked with the same information that all other devices have would actually cause an issue. But your redundancy should be done in a separate manner. So for example, you can have backups of everything, so that in the event of someone trying to steal your information and whatnot, you have a copy of the original information, so that if you were to go and make a report, or if you need the important information for your work and whatnot, at least nothing is destroyed or corrupted, and you can actually have evidence if there is any link to the scamming and whatnot, and you can submit your stuff as evidence so that the investigation might go a bit easier. If it's for me, I'm trying to find a way to make sure all my information is redundantly backed up, but in a way where it doesn't link, so that session tokens don't get carried forward and all my data from all my devices actually get destroyed. Like for example, you have one device for work, one device for personal use, something just for opening documents that you know might be risky, especially if you're opening contracts, PDFs from certain unknown people that you're networking with. So you can have that in a separate email and whatnot, just to eliminate the risk, or maybe even just reduce the risk of being scammed and hacked, okay? The number 3, okay? The third thing you have to do, the third thing that you have to do to avoid being scammed is, if let's say it is a social media account, okay? This is especially important because today's video is about social media accounts, especially this Instagram account. So I'm going to teach you about something that is related to social media. Always do a background check on the profile. You're not an investigator, but because things are public, or at least somewhat public online, you are able to actually find out who it is. Look at the person's mutual friends and then ask your mutual friends to see if everything is okay. And if your mutual friend gives this certain weird response, there might be a possible case of your friend being hacked already or scammed already. And If that's not the case, and your friend said, no, I don't know this person, or maybe I know this person, but then something went wrong somewhere because checking at the account, it looks suspicious, you already know something is not right. Checking the tagged pictures as well. Some, not all, but some people actually have their friend circle quite wide. And if, let's say, they have certain friends tagging them in pictures, you would see a history or a source where you can see all of the tagged pictures or the shared pictures. And if you see there's no correlation or any sort of like link between this account and the previous photos that have been shared, you know something is already a bit off, okay? When it comes to private accounts or people's accounts who don't really have a lot of content because they're the kind who don't post stuff, it's a bit harder. But what you have to do is, when it comes to the lack of information where there's not a lot to work with, always go to number one, okay? The first rule is, like what I said on the first step, or the first suggestion, is to always take any new account that you might not know with caution, and also be very wary of things until you can confirm that this account is legit and there's no malicious or mischievous intent. That's the story of me playing a scammer. I hope this video, even though it is a long one, I hope that you can get the value that you need. Don't forget to hit that like and also subscribe button for YouTube. Don't forget to follow me on my social media accounts. And since it's free, it helps me as a growing creator, and it helps you by getting value in the near future as well. Don't forget to enjoy your particular day, alright? Take care, stay safe. See you in the next video. Goodbye.